What's up, world? Thanks for joining again. I was going to go to Minneapolis and do one of these, but time got a little scarce, so I'll just sit in front of the garage for right now, give y'all a little brief update. Just went and got my coffee this morning. I gotta have my morning mud. I might have to get some more in a little bit here. I did a broadcast last night, which I posted. It should be coming to YouTube soon. And it basically talks about Cyberbunker. Cyberbunker is a documentary about these hackers that started in the Netherlands. These dudes went and got a nuclear bunker and created a hosting service. But the thing is, they was hosting some very, very bogus and nefarious stuff. And they ended up getting investigated. So I started kind of breaking that down a little bit. The documentary now is on Netflix, and it's called Cyberbunker. So y'all might want to check that out. I also start breaking down Stillwater, Minnesota. You know, I was talking about a position. There's a couple places that have reached out to me about Stillwater, that were in Stillwater, Minnesota. I didn't really want to work in Stillwater, Minnesota. I kind of gave you guys the breakdown on Matamidi, Minnesota, and a little history into that. And I talked about an incident that happened in downtown Stillwater. There was a few incidents that had occurred in Stillwater. There were some racial incidents in Stillwater that happened a few times. So that city is known to have some of that stuff that goes on sometimes. So I kind of break a little bit of that down. I did want to get a small story out of the way when it came to Journey. Like I said, I was going to go over south, but I didn't get a chance to make it. So one of these days, I'm going to make it. I'm going to try to go over there this week and then give that story. And, excuse me, in South Minneapolis, as y'all all know in my first volume, that's where I started my PC repair hustle. That's where my digital hustle was going. You know, I was making mixtapes and stuff like that in high school, and I'd be slanging DVDs and t-shirts and stuff like that. And y'all know the story about me having a store with my homeboys and all that, which I had 2 stores in South Minneapolis. The first one was kind of a wreck for me. I really didn't know what I was doing. My buddies had a clothing store, and I kind of did PC repair and sold mixtapes and CDs and stuff like that. But then years later, I actually got a real store. And that was after I had my 1-year internship at a nonprofit and the 4-month contract. Remember, I talked about in the book where my blood sugar was extremely high and I could have died from diabetes. I didn't know that I was diabetic at that time. So I opened up a store right after doing a 4-month contract. It was like 4 to 6 months. And I was sick and tired. I was sick and tired of corporate America within 4 to 6 months. That quick. I don't know if it was the sickness or whatever the case may be, but I was tired of it, so we opened up a retail store. But going back into South Minneapolis, that's kind of where everything kind of just culminated for me. I'll deal with the north side too, but South Minneapolis is where I kind of really, really got my grind on. That's where I became known for, hustling and doing my tech stuff and all of that. And I had this little business card. If I could find a business card, I don't know where it is. I'll see if I could post the old business card. I had an old business card. And on the business card, I had audio production because my guy did beats. So if somebody needed audio production and recording, I would just reach out to him and let him know. But, we were super, super, super unorganized back then. I mean, we were extraordinarily unorganized, and we really didn't have much of a plan when it came to doing, when it came to like the musical stuff. It wasn't very well thought out at all. But yet and still, I still put that on the card because I figured that, if somebody needs it, they could actually use it. When I was in South Minneapolis, when I was going at South High, like I said, I had built my computer already. I had already built my computer. I was working at Cub Foods at one point. I would take my check and I would start adding pieces to my computer. And then once I got my CD burner, I started getting my hustle on. Matter of fact, I'm trying to think. How did I buy that first computer? I think I was working at Cub when I bought that computer, because each time I got some money, I bought different pieces. I'm pretty sure that I was working at Cub Foods, because I don't think nobody gave me that $225 for that Hewlett Packard CD burner. It's getting a little hot in here. Let me turn this down. So when I got out of high school, Ma had like a rule. She had a rule in the house. The rule was, you either go to school, you find a job, or you go to the service. The service to me, I'm gonna be honest, the service to me was a situation where if you just don't really know what you do, it's like Job Corps. They just accept anybody, and in the Army Reserve, they just accept anybody. I felt like I was a little too smart for that. I didn't feel like it was a situation where I just didn't know what to do, and I was just completely lost, and I figured I would let me just go sign up just for the sake of signing up. And for gosh, and no, I said whatever I want to do, and I want to get in this tech game. I'm not, and I didn't want to go to college either. Now I ended up at IPR because I wanted to do some music stuff when they opened up, but tech was still in the back of my mind. So during this time, when I graduated high school to the time I was going to IPR, I don't think I was really doing anything, to be quite honest. But when I started the music school at IPR, when I started doing that, I still wanted to do something with tech. And it turned out I was better with doing PC support. So I went there. I think I went to IPR for a year, and I was BSing around. I don't know what I was doing in there during that time. All I know is I started to get real serious. I'll say I was probably BSing around for a couple years, working dead-end jobs, and really just kind of hustling. And then once I got serious, you get to a certain age. I'm like, okay. So I moved out the house. I got my own apartment. I was one of the few friends that I knew that had my own apartment at that time. So I just went and got an apartment. I was just trying to get out the house because I was getting too old. You get too old. It's time to go. Nobody told me I need to go. Nobody told me, well, you need to go or whatever. I just told myself, I need to be on my own. I need to be on my own, you know what I mean? And so I got me an apartment. I wasn't really doing too much at that time. And I said, well, I think around maybe it was a 06, 07 or whatever. I believe at that time, let me see, did we have the first store? No. It wasn't, let me see, did we have the first store then? We might have had the first store. I'm gonna have to call Stack Doe and verify. Stack Doe would know. We had the first store on 38th and Nicollet. We had the first store on 38th and Nicollet. It had to have been 06. It had to have been around about that time, because halfway through the year, 6-7 months in or something, somebody broke into the store, and we were kind of thinking like, do we want to keep it going? Eventually, that's when I got my 1-year internship. And that's how I learned about Active Directory and, you know, imaging computers with Norton Ghost and stuff like that. So that was kind of my little breakout. I got a car. I was ordering computers from this company called 3B Tech in by the way of Hammond, Indiana. So I would order the computer and throw Linux on there, or it might be Windows or something like that. I might buy it for like $150, $189, and I might sell it for $450 to $500. So I was letting those go like every week. You see what I'm saying? So I would have my work check. I was only getting paid $10 an hour for that internship, and I ain't take out. There was no taxes. They ain't really take out no taxes, I don't think. And so it really wasn't that much money, man. But I was still hustling. I was selling my DVDs. I was selling the computers, and I was doing computer repair. So I was doing the computer. I was selling the computers. I was doing the computer repair, and eventually I saved up. I think I must have sold one computer, or maybe two computers at 1 week. And I went down to Lake Street, out of all places. I went to Lake Street, and I bought a beater. It was like, it wasn't Tri-City Auto. That's another janky spot, but it was a place on Lake Street. And why I went to Lake Street, I don't know. I don't know why I went to Lake Street, but I had my license. My homie helped me get my license, and I went and got a 1995 or a 96 Lumina. Man, the transmission went out in 2 weeks, and they sold me that car. And this dude, he hit me with the religious stuff. Oh, we love the Lord. You know, when someone's trying to sell you something and they immediately start talking about religion, you know they scamming. He hit me with the, yeah, we love the Lord. Oh man, oh Jesus, this and that, and sold me a janky car within the same. And then, you know, when I came back, and I was so green, and I was like, man. So I brought it to one little, you know, rinky-dinky stuff. At one point, there was this one dude. I think I was working on his computer. He was a fiend. So he was a crackhead that I had him working on that car. He kept going. He had me out in the cold, and he was going, and he'd take a break, and he had me out in the cold, and we working on this thing. He thought it was the gas pump. So I'm over south in the middle of some alley, man. It's cold as hell. He taking breaks. He going to smoke crack, and he's going to take a break, and I'm sitting out there. It's hours and hours, because you got to keep in mind, I didn't really have no money to go to like a real shop. I should have went to a real shop right off the rip. So I go to this dude, and he's smoking at the same time. I don't know why I didn't know he was a hype right away, but I started noticing when I went to his house. We pull up into the garage, and this dude is, I mean, it was cold too, man. It was cold, because my car, it just kept breaking down. It kept breaking down, and I was not smart enough to know not to buy it from Lake Street. That was number one. I should have been known that. That's the number one. I should have never bought it from Lake Street. That's number one. Number two, I shouldn't have went to dude. So I think I must have paid him a little bit of nothing, you know, and he was trying to figure it out. So he fixed one problem, you know, but then, you know, like I said, I was at the house. It was like all day. You know how crackheads work. They might start working on your car, and then, you know, 3-4 hours later, and then he brings me a bowl of chili. Hey man, let's sit down and talk. And I'm like, man, I got stuff to do. But the thing is, I need my car, and it's too cold. So, you know, he finally gets it to where it's running to where I could get it somewhere else, or whatever the case may be. And so I bring it to some other dude. I bring it to some other guy. He was a cool old school black dude. He worked on your old schools and stuff like that, but he was so damn old. His name was Mr. Dan. Everybody knows Mr. Dan. If you was a black person and you ain't really have a whole lot of bread, and you wasn't really trying to go out to Lincoln Mercury in Bloomington, or go to like some of the big dog, the super duper real shops, you gonna go and bring your old school. You ain't gonna really bring nothing new, but you just want an oil exchange or whatever. You go to Mr. Dan. Right off of Nicollet, right off of 30, not Nicollet. Hiawatha, was it Hiawatha? 36, 37th and Nicollet. I can't remember his shop. I wonder if Mr. Dan's still there. Some Mexicans probably got it now. But that's where we used to go. And the brother that was working with him, he was like, man, no, don't go, don't get rid of this car, man. because they start kind of trying to work on this and work on that or whatever. Be like, man, you gotta get rid of this car because it was too much stuff wrong with it. So I brought it back to the dude and I said, look, man, this thing ain't, and it was as is, but he got me. And it was under the limit law. It was $3,000. We got a limit law up here where the car's $3,000. If it's under $3,000, they can get, it's whatever. Like you just got. So I call up there. Now, mind you, I put $500 down on this car. The car was like 3-4 bands. So that means I got to keep making $500 payments and insurance per month or something like that. So it was something crazy. Something crazy. I should have never went there. But that was the first time I really learned. So let me tell you. The car was breaking down on my way to work and all this. My supervisor wrote a letter to the auto place. Like, yeah, like he was a lawyer. And Stack Doe helped me out a few times with some situations like this with some cars. But my supervisor said, well, Derek's not going to be paying for this car. So and so and so. He mentioned the lemon law or whatever. Like, so eventually what I did, I think I ended up driving the car up to the place with the keys and just dropped it off. Just dropped the car off. They never called me back again. They probably resold it somewhere. They probably got it at an auction for $100 or something like that. So they do that a lot in Minnesota. It's a lot of janky little dealerships. So man, if y'all want a real deal dealership, man, y'all need to go to Maplewood Toyota, Bloomington Lincoln Mercury. Don't go to none of these little janky. These janky little Lake Street, East Side. No, man, don't mess with none of them, man. Don't mess with none of them. I would advise y'all to just go to the real deal because you still gonna pay the same note and they going off of your job. Don't go to Car Soup or whatever. Not Car Soup. Was it Car? It was some place, man, where they give you this real janky. Y'all know it's in St. Paul. They give you a real janky warranty and stuff like that. So I never messed with them. I was kind of wisened up by that point. But yeah, man, long story. I go and I sell like, I think I got back on the bus. So that messed up my pride. But I said, okay, let me figure out what I'm going to do. I went back to square one. People still needed their computers fixed. So I would, like I say, not a lot of people were doing that back then. And keep in mind, this was kind of after the time where all the fiends and the crackheads in Minneapolis, they were selling dollar CDs. So they messed up the CD game. They messed up the DVD game. They couldn't mess up the computer repair game. They wasn't going to be able to take me out of that. So, I went to people's houses, pick up their computers, work on them at the house. Sometimes I would grab the computer and I would bring it home. Most of the time I'll just do a house call. Okay, $100, $150. I do like 4 or 5 of those. Okay, now I had like a rack. Or was it, no, 1,200. I think it was 12 or 1,300. So this old school cat that used to sell CDs and stuff, he's driving a bus. I forgot his name. But this dude, I used to work on his computer stuff. He brought me out to this place. I got a Dodge Spirit. That was the most reliable car I had around that time. I bought that car in 2008. Built like a tank. I threw like a 12 in the back and I went to work. I threw that 12 in that back, man, and I went to work. I threw a Pioneer deck in there. I had my 8-ball and MJG and my Psychodrama, man, and I went to work. I was ordering these computers from Hammond, Indiana. They would ship them out. As soon as you order them, man, they ship that computer to, like in 2-3 days. Sometimes I'd have 2-3 desktops ready to go. Geek Squad talking about charging a lot. Most of these black folks, they go to Geek Squad, they want $200 to $400. They charging you for data backup. They charging you for all kind of stuff. And a lot of times people had Dells. So when they got a virus or something, I'd be like, hey, let me just I would have the OEM disc. I got the license. It's legal. All I do is just reinstall Windows XP, put AVG antivirus on there, $100. Sometimes $75. I'll back up, do your data backup, do everything. And then that's $100. So that's actually some decent money for a young black man around that time. If you make it $10 an hour and you sell 2-3 desktops and you got your mixtapes and your DVDs and you doing computer repair, man, you might mess around and make a few bands a week. under the table. It was, I ain't gonna lie, it was lovely. But see, I was doing stupid stuff like buying cars and throwing rims on. Like, you could do goofy stuff, But like in my 20s, I had a couple cars. I had a few cars, and then eventually I got a little better apartment and stuff, and I was working out of there doing, So I just, what I didn't do is I didn't organize that well. That's all that was. But early on in the game, I ain't gonna lie, like I was only making $10 an hour for that 1 year internship, but I was still making money on the side. So I always had money in my pocket. The mistake that I made at that young age. Now you got to keep in mind, this was a time there wasn't a lot of streaming and stuff like that. So folks was doing hand-to-hand transactions. If dudes was selling music or they were doing computer repair, it was a very hustle-centric time. You didn't have young dudes walking around with fentanyl and just high, and folks wasn't just carjacking left and right. We knew how to make money. Yeah, we knew how to make money back then, y'all. We knew how to make some money. If dudes was hustling and they was selling stuff illegal, if dudes was selling drugs, they was selling drugs. If dudes was selling t-shirts, they was selling t-shirts. But our generation, when we was coming up in our 20s, we knew how to make some money. It wasn't hard to get no money, man. If you didn't have no money in the 2000s, if you just never had no money, you just didn't have no grind and no hustle about you. We knew how to get a couple dollars. We knew how to do that. My homie Stack Doe would post up. He would have his, he'd be on Broadway selling shoes out the trunk, like JT the Bigger Figure. He was getting his Rich the Factor on. He was doing the Bay Area thing with shoes, having exclusive shoes. Now my brother has a shop, Twinstown, www.twinz towns, TOWNZ, twinstown.com, www.twinstown.com. Now he has an online warehouse. He was riding around the city with exclusives. He didn't have he didn't have the knocks. He didn't have the knockoff looking ones. And if they were knocks, I wouldn't have known. I bought a pair of J's from him. I still want them that same pair. I don't know what I did with them shoes. And I don't even like Jordans and like that, but there's a few pairs that I would like. I'm like, man, he had the exclusives. He probably had the American Gangster plug overseas. Yeah, he had the Frank Lucas of the sports shoes and stuff like that. And a lot of people were selling knockoff shoes. I'm just kind of giving y'all how it was in Minneapolis in 2005, 06, 07, 09, around that time. I'm kind of giving y'all a breakdown of what was going on around that time. From 2000, man, from the time that the Twin Towers fell to the time that I say 09 or something like that, kind of around that, man, yeah, it was wide open. If you were a young black man and you were hustling, it was wide open. You had to communicate with people. I printed up business cards. You had to hit people on the phone. Well, in high school, some people we had the chirp. They had a little Nextel chirp. That didn't last too long. But you might be on the 21 and you hear a dude, flipping ounces chirping. Meet me over here, chirp. You might hear somebody on the chirp. You might see somebody with their two-way getting it in. The bus was a big thing. Even if you didn't have a car, on the bus you'd meet a lot of contacts. There was dudes that used to hustle to be on the bus and sometimes go jump in the car. I used to see it, because sometimes I would do it. Every now and then, sometimes even when I had a car, sometimes I would jump on a bus just to get back in the mud, just because I like, the bus was like I say, we used to have our backpacks. We be hustling, and sometimes we get off, we go get some hot chocolate, get back on the bus. I mean, it was cold. Like right now it's 36 degrees. It was way, way colder than that. It was sometimes 14, 15 degrees, man. We wasn't staying inside. We was outside. It wasn't no staying inside. You had to get outside and you had to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we used to do. I'd have socks, I'd have t-shirts, I'd have, but I had to upgrade my game. Once the game started getting messed up, I said, okay, let me empower myself to learn. Let me work on these computers. And for the same amount of money, and see, that's why me just looking at just the regular 9 to 5 at that time, just the 9 to 5, eventually I was just kind of like, unless it was people that knew me very, very well and they come to my house, I'd be like, well, you need some music, you whatever, I'll hook them up. Man, I got to a point where I was just doing just computers. I'm not doing anything else. And it wasn't that I didn't really want the money anymore. I said, okay, let somebody else have that. I got a lane right here that don't nobody else got in the city. It's only a few of us that was doing what I was doing when it came to computer repair. I might have to say I was like a PC repair street pioneer when it comes to that stuff. It wasn't really nobody doing. When I started doing the computer repair and going to people's houses and stuff like that, and I didn't really have a bunch of comebacks, especially when I started putting Linux distributions on people's machines. Ain't no reason for you to call me back. You can't put a virus on your machine. I mean, you can, but they didn't make a lot of Linux viruses at that time. So sometimes I might just have somebody might install Linux on their computer and I never got a call back. I ain't get another dime. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have no reason to call me. And that was fine with me, because now, somebody said, well, hey man, that man will throw Linux on your computer. Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to play the same games, but if you just want to just handle business and just go on browsers. I had customers, man, they were some weird dudes. They wanted to get into some weird stuff. They want to get this, they was interested in porn and stuff like that. So they like to browse Linux. Here you go. Linux, here you go. You know what I'm saying? That's your business. That's your business. Whatever you do on that computer, hey, that's your business. Straight up. I used to have, once I was starting to learn about some of that forensic software and stuff, I used to have dudes coming to the store. It's getting cold. Let me turn this back on. I used to have dudes coming into the shop, man. We had our second shop. I used to have dudes come in there. I had a woman come in one time. She said, yeah, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what websites this dude been on. Basically, she was trying to get me to investigate this, and I was like, man, I could have did it. I could have made some money off of that stuff, but I said, man, I ain't about to get into that. I ain't about to get into that relationship stuff, because now dude comes up and he's like, oh man, you done broke me and my wife up because I know he wouldn't have did that to no white guy. He wouldn't have went to Best Buy and went to their forensic, if they had like a forensic department where they look into people's stuff, and you getting into privacy issues right now. So that's why I didn't really want to do that. But I had people that would come in to the store when we had that second store in Minneapolis. Hey man, this dude, I think he cheating on me. Can you look through this? Can you get through this computer or whatever? I'm like, I know how, but I could have made a lot of money doing stuff like that. Like spouses or people want, but no. Let me just work on the computer. I don't want to do all that. Let me just, no. I did not want to do that. But man, it was a gold mine. It was a gold mine. Because everything was hand to hand. There was no Cash App. It was straight cash. Put it in your pocket. Put it under the shoebox. Put it in the shoebox, man, in the closet, in the back of, in your bedroom. Now, when you had to meet somebody, I mean, they had stuff like Black Planet and stuff like that, and in MySpace, of course. And eventually it became Facebook, and that's when all the capoeira martial arts started happening. You started having folks just make up who they were, just for the sake of online, just for the ego of online presence or whatever. I mean, it went down. MySpace was one thing, but man, Facebook and all, especially when Instagram. Man, when Instagram came on, man, it was just a process. It was just modern, like Pimp C said. Man, prostitution that went to the internet. You got folks that ain't got no credibility out here that could basically just be, well, you know, I used to be Pimp Squeak, now I'm Batman or something now. So, you know, so that's when everything just went, because now the phone is now the gateway to what people want to be and what they look like. Yeah, they probably ain't got a Rolls Royce, but they're talking like they do. You see what I'm saying? So it was one of those kind of situations. But no, and it wasn't that long ago. That's why I say we were young enough to see the technology usher in. You see what I'm saying? So we came up, my generation came up with the 8-ball and MJGs, the 3-6, the Project Pats. We remember Hell on Earth. We remember Suave House. But then we were able to see drill music come in with Chief Keef and all of them and stuff like that. We were able to still appreciate it because we were technology kids. We were still technology kids. Like I said, I went to IPR and stuff. We were technology guys. We were interested. You know, we didn't look at it like, you know how some of the old folks, and I have that big section about like the civil rights generation, the cocaine Cadillac and white women generation. We didn't look at it like how they did. We didn't look at it like how they did. We looked at it as, you know, hey, we're in our late teens, early 20s. We out here with these backpacks. We got our mixtapes. We got our socks and our t-shirts. You got dude over there. He's hustling. He's serving this dude over here. He's serving the gristle. We got this dude over here. He's serving pounds. We got this dude over here. He riding in this Chevy Caprice. We were like the Chevy Caprice kids. We were the Bronco Chevy Caprice kids. But we got to see the Hellcats and we got to kind of see the Chargers has always been big here, but we came up under the box Caprices. We came up under the box Caprices, and every now and then I do see them Impalas, especially them in '95 Impalas, man, with the 5.7. That's why I'm trying to give y'all the mindset of how Minneapolis was. Box Chevy Caprices. You know what I'm saying? A dude out here with mixtapes, a crackhead out here with a duplicator plugged up into the check cashing spot, or the barber shop. You know, he's trying to feed his high. You got down the block down here. You got maybe all while there's wars and sets, all gets going. Shoot them up down here. You got this gang over here getting into it. He's hustling over there. You got somebody selling some mixtapes over there. Here I am, a couple blocks down. Let me work on this computer here. Let me work on that computer there. It was beautiful. I'm not even gonna lie, man. It was nothing like how it is now. It's just the music gets there. We had to go to Electric Fetus. We had to go to Fifth Element to get a foreign exchange machine. When Stillmatic came out, we had to hop on it, get the extra bonus song at Best Buy. You had to go to Circuit City. You had to go to Circuit City to get the bonus track from Stillmatic. Everything was a process. You had to appreciate the process and patience. When you want to holler at a female, well, you exchange numbers. It wasn't, well, hey, let me look at your profile. It wasn't that long ago, y'all. It really wasn't that long ago until communication literally got diminished. I'm kind of going off the deep end. I'm trying to get y'all into the mindset of how it was. Where technology was and just communication, what things were socially in my city. How things were in my city. You see what I'm saying? We really got to see everything transform at face value. If we could appreciate the art form, it was literally an art form. You went and got this song, you went and got this album. I didn't start streaming. me being a technical person, I was a little disgruntled. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of hating low key on streaming. Yeah, I was hating on streaming. I was saying, no, I'm not gonna stream. I'm gonna keep popping this disc in because I like the sound when I put the disc in. I started looking at the credits. I like that. I still buy CDs sometimes to this day. I was kind of hating, and then it became too damn easy. Man, I got a Gangsta Gibbs song. Oh, I got 8-Ball MJG. All of it's at my fingertips right now. I'm like, it's too damn easy. I had to get down with the program. I don't got time to flip through discs. Like how we used to make mixed CDs. We used to have to sit there and make the mixed CDs. I got folks that call me up to this day that got stacks full of CDs. Man, DP, you remember when you made me this mixed CD? Some of those songs you can't get. Like the Sycamores, some of those songs you can't get online as easy. You got to go through eBay and stuff like that. It was a glorious time, man. I'm not gonna lie. I love seeing those box Chevy Caprices come down the blocks with 212s, where somebody could just hop out. He got his Philly, not a Philly. He got his Philly cheesesteak, and he needs some music. And it's direct hand to hand. People had to call each other. They had to meet up. Now, if you're sending it, well, you ain't got to send any song now. You can just click on Spotify. People had to meet up. There was a transfer. What I'm saying is there was a transfer of communication and somewhat element of respect when it came to black folks doing business with each other. Because 9 times out of 10, you're during the hours of a 9 to 5. If you're not working a 9 to 5, you're dealing with folks in the street. You're dealing with people that's hustling and doing all kind of stuff. So I mean, anything can happen at any given time. I mean, but that's the life that we were engulfed in. Everyone was hustling. Some people had 9 to 5, but what I'm saying is when you're not working under 9 to 5 hours, so you're kind of, even if you're not in it like that, you still kind of, you messing with the underworld a little bit. You messing with the underworld, and sometimes some things happen. Sometimes things happen, you know what I'm saying? But that's what we used to do. When I got serious, my life changed. First thing I did, man, when I had cornrows, I cut them off. I went and got a fade. And I said, I made a transformation within 24 hours. I said, man, I got to change and I got to restructure my game. Just hand to hand with a backpack on the street, just selling mixtapes and doing what I do. This isn't really going to work for me. I gotta expand my game. And there was really nobody around to tell me I need to do that. I wasn't really talking to my pops. There wasn't no black male role models. There wasn't no big homie role model or oh man, you need to do. There wasn't none of that. I just woke up one day and said, man, and I went and I got a BS job at Sears. And I was going to quit the same day. Like, man, I can make more money on my own. I said, no, DP. I said, you stay the course. And I'm glad I did that. I completed that. It was a seasonal position over there in Frogtown. I used that money to get out of Cedar Riverside, because if I would have stayed in D building, I would have been doing the same thing that I was doing. Nothing. I would have been doing the same thing if I would have been staying in Cedar Riverside, Cedar Square West in D building. I'm gonna post up an old picture. I'm gonna make that my profile. I'm gonna find that picture. I'm gonna post up an old picture as this profile on me standing in front of D building with my time machine. I'm gonna post up that picture. Y'all probably seen it before. I'm gonna post it. Matter of fact, I don't think y'all seen it. But man, I worked that job. And then once I got me an apartment on Lake, there was a brand new building. So I was really, really excited about that. And things started turning over. Got my internship. Got me a car. It took forever for me to get a car. I should have got a license when I was around 18, 19. Didn't really have nobody to help me with that. I can't really blame nobody. But once I got a car, that's when, and I was telling somebody else the other day, it opened up the gates for me. I was able to move and shake everywhere. I was already moving wherever I needed to go on a bus and or a train. Because remember, the train happened. I mean, the train, they put the trains up and stuff. Y'all remember when the bridge fell? I didn't have a car then. I was still taking the train. When the bridge fell, my mom had called me when she was alive. She was like, hey, the bridge fell. So I started to head down. I'm going way off the deep end. I'm just giving y'all how Minneapolis was. I jumped on the train, got off on Cedar Riverside, and went down to where, because, you know, down there in River Bluff, we were right where the bridge fell. She felt the bridge when it fell. 35. Crazy. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't driving then. I was living in Cedar Riverside at that time. So me and my homie, we jump on the train, because that's what we used to do. You know, I would be having my little duplicator and stuff. Man, it was always a glorious time, man. Anybody from Minneapolis, man, hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. Y'all remember this. I know y'all remember this, man. I know y'all remember all these times. Box Chevys, Guy Rolls, you know what I'm saying? Time machines. Juvenile 400 Degrees. Mob Deep Hell on Earth. Stillmatic. The Blueprint. Man, it was a glorious time in Minneapolis, man. It was a glorious time, man. Dudes could hustle. Dudes was hustle. Man, I'm telling you, y'all just don't understand, man. It was so damn fun. It was so damn fun, man. And it was dangerous too. Man, people was getting their heads knocked off at the same time. We out here trying to make a buck. I didn't really think about it all the time. I was kind of around seeing all kind of stuff going on. There was indictments going on in the city. There was all kind of stuff going on in the city, man. My homies had the music thing going. Big man. It was a glorious time. There were some bad times and stuff, but man, it was wide open. It was literally wide open, man. It was literally wide open. I feel sorry for some of the young guys, the young kids. I ain't even gonna call them kids, but you know, like the young folks right now. When I be seeing some people, man, and they be looking like the Walking Dead fentanyl head, and they 18, 17, 19. I see them walking down the street, and you have this establishment and this administration that it's not for the kids. If it's anything for the kids, it's something nefarious where they got to do something that compromises their woman or manhood, man. I feel bad for them. I feel real bad for them because the way that the future is set up is not being propagated in the direction for the youth. It's not, man. It's not. And like I say, it wasn't great for us, but it felt like it at the time. It felt like I didn't feel hopeless. I didn't feel hopeless, man. I didn't really feel hopeless. I felt very misguided, didn't really know what I want to do all the time, but I did not feel hopeless. I know, there's even with the school, like at the workforce center, we used to have, y'all remember that? Anybody that worked at Mixed Blood Theater or at these little, we used to have, when we was 14, at the What's Up Youth Info line, like we had stuff, man. We had stuff where we could work and make maybe 12, 13 bucks an hour maybe or something like that. Summer programs all the time. Where's the summer programs at? Where's the summer programs? They bringing in all these illegals. I ain't gonna call them migrants. They bringing in all these illegals and giving Ukraine money and Israel money. Man, where's all this money specifically for Foundation of Black Americans? Where's all the money for young kids in Minneapolis where it should be like a tech program? I'm talking about take all the money you giving all these folks that's getting unearned free benefits. Where's that money? That money should go towards black folk here in the city of Minneapolis for tech programs, for tech internships where they should make $15, $16 an hour, man. We had a summer school, we had a summer program all the time. Even when we was at the Curry Center, there was a summer program. I was maybe 12 years old, 13 or something like that. I'd go down Cedar Square West, and they'd have a program at the Curry Center, the Coyle Center. At the Coyle Center, they had a program where we could make money. You know, we would go and it would be projects you work on. You might clean up the neighborhood. You might do stuff like that. There was summer programs, man, where we make $11, $12, $13 an hour or something like that, man. We had that every summer. Now they tell you they can't do nothing for the black kids because they got some folks coming in from somewhere else. That's what's going on. I just gotta say it. Something that ain't got nothing to do with us. Them wars with the, you know who and all that going on right now, man, they ain't got nothing to do with our folk, man. Where's our reparations and our tangibles? Where's our damn money? That ain't got nothing to do with us. There should be all kinds of tech programs and stuff. It should be falling out the sky. It should be like cloudy meatballs. It should be falling out the sky as far as black folk, man. We supposed to have all kind of stuff. You know, and it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate, but like I said, it was, man, I ain't gonna lie, we had a ball. We had a ball. Everybody in Minneapolis around about my age group or a little younger, man, y'all could attest, man. And there's still some good stuff now. I'm proud to see a lot of the black businesses in the city. I sure am. Could be more, but man, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it, man. But man, I tell you, we had a ball. We had a ball. I used to like going up what's the A by A&J Chicken. I used to like seeing all them time machines and all them nice rides. I think it was that, what was his name, Chin, what's his name, putting the sound systems in the, you know what I'm saying, and you hear the sound systems over there off of Portland getting placed in, and man, we had a ball. We had a ball. And I wasn't really in the club scene, but the club scene was a big thing. I wasn't really into the clubs and stuff, but you know, y'all could fill me in on that. But now I'm gonna go ahead and upload that, man. That was tech in South Minneapolis. I was talking about the climate. I kind of went off into the long deep end and everything, but that was the climate tech in Minneapolis. That was the climate tech. That was the tech climate and the technology climate in Minneapolis around that time. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this, man. We're going to get into another story. I promise I'm going to go to Minneapolis, get y'all some footage. I might just go ahead and record me jumping on the freeway. And then, I'll kind of stop and look around and, kind of move around and things of that nature. And kind of show you my pathway and stuff, man. Like, how did I get here? What are some of the places that, where I used to live at? What are some of the things that I was doing? Beautiful times, man. Good ups and downs. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. You heard me run my mouth for damn near about 48 minutes here. Like, share, and subscribe. You got any questions, go ahead and comment. And if y'all need somebody, man, looking for a remote position or whatever case, make sure you go to beingblackandit.com. Hit the like button on all of these, man, and let people know, hey, you could still get in the game, whether you got a college degree or not. Y'all take care, all right?